Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Now, raise your hand if you're ready for some gravel therapy, because I know I am. Today, I'm down in Henderson, Minnesota, and I'm going to run about a 45 to 50 mile loop that's going to hit some awesome gravel. We're going to check out some early fall colors, and then we'll run by the Minnesota River. Should be really pretty. Plus, we'll stop by and check out a filming location for one of the 80s most iconic movies. Now, I'm from Minnesota, so you can probably guess which one it is. Stick around, it's going to be a lot of fun, you know. What else you got to do? It'll be a great time. Well, I only went a matter of a couple blocks and already ran into a detour. So I guess that's pretty typical for Minnesota. There's no snow, so that means it's construction season. Not a problem. It looks like there's an easy drive around to get where I want to start the loop. And actually, it looks like it could be even more interesting than the highway I was taking. But yeah, not a big deal at all. Should be pretty. The town of Henderson is about 30 minutes southeast of the Twin Cities along the Minnesota River. And it's a great little stop for gas or lunch when you're enjoying a drive along the Minnesota River Valley Scenic Byway. Well, holy buckets, coming out of that hill out of Henderson was horrible. Major washboarding. I thought the truck was going to rattle apart. Jeepers. I'm going to run this route today counterclockwise, starting just north of Henderson. And first up is a run on one of Minnesota's legendary haunted roads. Now, legend has it, a woman named Annie lived in this little valley with her 3 kids and her husband. When her husband was killed during World War I, she became so distraught that she drowned her 3 children in the creek that ran by their home. Annie then took her own life, hanging herself by a tree next to the old bridge over Buffalo Creek. Now, 100 years later, people say they've seen her figure down by the creek, and they've heard children's laughter near the water as well. Some say they've experienced car trouble when they stop near the bridge, and some say they've seen red eyes glowing in the woods nearby. Now, is this story of Crazy Annie true? Locals will tell you no, that it's just a legend, but others, who said they've experienced things here, will say they'll never come back. Now for me, I'm just going to keep on driving through and not take any chances. It's just a few miles past Crazy Annie's Bridge when there's a nice little pull-off to check out the Vail Wildlife Management Area. Unfortunately today, this place could use a cleaning up. I hate seeing this garbage here, but it's pretty here, and I'm curious to see where this 2-track leads. Well, I just walked down that 2-lane road that was gated at the parking area just to see where it went, and it looks like to be a field access road, which is, you know, pretty common out here. Lots of birds and very tall sumac, and it's just blowing and cracking in the wind. Very pretty. What a beautiful morning. After heading west across the northern side of the loop, my route turns south onto wonderful gravel, heading south through the beautiful farm country, bathed by brilliant fall sunshine. It wasn't long, and I was again dropping down into an amazing tree-lined ravine, which led down and along the meandering Rush River. Well, I just pulled over and off into this little county park, Rush River County Park. Looks like it's a place that you could actually camp for the night if you wanted to. Make a donation, it's pretty cheap, and a nice place to stay if you happen to be driving through or even mountain biking through. So I have a handy little park to put right there on this nice gravel road. What I hadn't noticed before was there's a great little RV campground just on the other side of this park. So if you're going to camp, that's definitely where you're going to want to spend the night. Okay, let's keep this rolling and soak in this perfect autumn morning. Whether in a truck or on a dual sport motorcycle, the gravel stretches on this loop are just so enjoyable. Just giving you a chance to slow down a bit and breathe. I have to say, this is an absolutely beautiful fall day. It's not hot, it's nice and cool and crisp, sweatshirt and shorts weather. The field corn is drying up, the soybeans are all ready for picking or drying up. Just an absolutely wonderful day. I'm so glad I'm out today. As I rumbled on down the gravel road, another Nissan Frontier caught my eye, but this King Cab looked like it was a lot worse for wear. Hopefully whoever was in it at the time of the accident was okay. Alright, let's continue on down to the southernmost point of this route, and we'll head into the historic town of Sueur. Just across Highway 169, be sure to check out the Sueur Landing along the western banks of the Minnesota River. Here you'll find the remnants of the old steel bridge that got you into town, as well as the boating access to the river. And you can also find a place to camp at this municipal campground. Alright, I just stopped at River Park, which is just on the western side of the Minnesota River in Sueur, Minnesota. Neat little park. There's a boat launch here if you dare to do it. It's a little shallow for do it right now. The water's pulled away from the boat ramp quite a bit. But there are some campsites here. I think there's like 5 or 6 at least. And it's a great place probably to come and stop if you're mountain biking again or driving through. And it looks like there's some good little trails along the river as well. So just a neat little park. What a great little town this is. Sueur, Minnesota is probably more well known as an agricultural hub in the area, with its huge elevators overlooking the flowing river. But it's also the home of the family that would put Minnesota on the map as one of the world-renowned places to come for groundbreaking healthcare. This Gothic-style home is the Dr. William H. Mayo House. It was built by hand in 1859 by brothers James and William Worrell Mayo, who immigrated to Minnesota in 1846 from the UK and became a doctor. William's oldest son, William James Mayo, was born in the home in 1861. William Sr. aided pioneers and their families during the Dakota War of 1862, and there's a memorial park right next to the home that commemorates that battle. The Mayo family moved to Rochester in southeast Minnesota, where he became a surgeon and eventually founding what the world now calls the Mayo Clinic. But the historic significance of this little house doesn't end here. In 1847, the Cosgrove family took ownership, who were making a name for themselves in the vegetable canning business. You see, Sueur, Minnesota is also the birthplace of Ho Ho Ho, the Jolly Green Giant. This sculpture in the park next to the Mayo home is a tribute to both Louise Mayo and Louise Cosgrove, and their legacy to this Minnesota river town community. Alright, let's buckle up and get back on the road and make our way to a site along the river that has a connection to a Royal Minnesota music legend. section of our loop is taking us back north, winding its way past drying farm fields and through wooded valleys, eventually rolling up along the eastern edge of the Minnesota River. So earlier I mentioned that I was going to check out a filming location of an iconic 80s movie. And if you haven't guessed it yet, I'd be surprised. So behind me is where they filmed the trestle scene 41 years ago for Purple Rain. It was Prince's movie. This is the scene where he says, get purified in the waters of Lake Minnetonka. Of course, it's not Lake Minnetonka. But it's kind of Henderson's claim to fame in the movie biz. And honestly, I was pulled up here and some folks from Maryland pulled up and they were checking it out too. They were visiting and they were kind of on a Prince tour. They checked out Paisley Park and drove down here to see the mural in town, which I'll show you in a little bit, and you know, get that Prince experience. So 41 years later, people are still intrigued by the movie and the movie location and just his impact on Minnesota. It's pretty amazing that he did that, and many folks miss him. Just off the roadside along this rusting wire fence, you'll still see some tributes that Prince fans have left in his memory. 2 days of film shooting took place here back in 1983 for the movie Purple Rain. The scene shot here is the one where Prince guns Apollonia to jump into the water before speeding off down the gravel road on his motorcycle. That scene is just one of many memorable scenes shot throughout the Twin Cities and metro area. Purple Rain was one of the 10th biggest films of 1984, and it's been called the best rock movie of all time. It also earned Prince an Academy Award for Best Original Score. When you pull in and visit Henderson, Minnesota, be sure to get a picture by the Prince mural overlooking the heart of town. A bench and statue were here for quite a few years, but in 2023 they were moved to the Minnesota Music Hall of Fame, located in New Ulm. But there's more to Henderson than its connection to Prince. This charming town has a rich history to discover, and is always a welcome stop for the hungry and weary traveler who decided to take the back roads rather than Highway 169. I shortened the route up just a little bit. It was about 47 miles, and I think it was more like 40 now. I cut off some parts that were just, more straight gravel out in the country through cornfields. You've probably seen enough of that. But anyway, I wanted to get into town and show you some other things like the little Prince mural. And, this is a really cool little town. Some great restaurants, a neat place to visit. And it's right along the Minnesota River. So if you get a chance, do it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you like the gravel roads. I hope you like the movie history I showed you. And thank you guys for watching. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. And a share and a subscribe would help me out too. That'd be wonderful. So until the next one, you guys get out and get lost on those beautiful back roads. And I'll see you later.